In this video, we are going to talk about 21 ethical ETF listed in ASX. We're going to start by talking about what ethical ETF each fund management company provides, such as BetterShares, BlackRock, and Vanguard, and so on. And then we're going to compare the management fee from them and the inception date. And then we're going to talk about deeper about how many holdings each ETF has. And more importantly, the index and the ethical standard that they follow. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the dilemma, the problem of picking the right ethical ETF that is right for you. So here it is. This is the 21 ETF listed in ASX that I found. Again, this is an informational video. If there is an information that you found not accurate, I apologize for that. I only get it straight from the fund provider website. But if we can see from the table that I've summarized here, you can check the ticker code. This is the ASX ticker code, such as FAIR. And then there is the ETF name, such as for FAIR is Australia Sustainability Leaders. And the order of this is not based on which one is the best, which one is number one. We're not about giving financial advice. It's purely informational. It's just categorizing them based on the fund provider. In this case, from number 1 till number 7, it is provided by BetterShares. And the next column, they have the management fee that comes with the ETF. And you can judge by yourself as well if why is this particular ETF charge this management fee. You just need to pick the ones that you are happy with, obviously. And on the next column, we have the fund size. And this fund size is quite an indication of how popular the ETF is. Obviously, the bigger it is, the more popular the ETF, and the smaller it is, maybe the ETF is just starting out. I'm gonna point out ETHI by BetterShares is the most popular ethical ETF in ASX based on June 2022 because their fund size is almost reaching $2 billion. And on the next column, I also included the inception date, and most of them is fairly new. We can see that none of them has reached over 10 years old, the fund so far, but we can see that one of the first ethical ETF that has started in ASX is provided by Spider SPDR with the ticker code WXOZ, the S&P World X Australia Carbon Control Fund, with the inception date of March 2013. And on the last column, I included the distribution date. So on this table here, I sorted the ETF based on the management fee, being the top being the least, the smallest management fee, and the bottom being the largest. So if we go through the top 3, the one that is charging the least management fee is provided by BlackRock's iShares, IESG, the iShares Core MSCI Australia ESG Leaders, and then IWLD, the iShares MSCI World X Australia ESG Leaders, followed by Spider E200, which is a selection of ESG companies from the S&P ASX 200 index. Also on the top 5, we have Vanguard, VETH, and VESG, both called ethically conscious Australian shares and ethically conscious international shares for VESG. And as you go along on the table, the most expensive is the more active fund, that is IMPQ, provided by eInvest, that is charging about 1% of management fee per year. And plus, on top of that, you have to pay 20% outperformance fee. Now I sort out the 21 ethical ETF based on the fund size, or you can also say it's a reflection of the fund popularity. We already mentioned before that ETHI by BetterShares that you can also access on CommSec Pocket. I'm not sponsored by CommSec Pocket. I'm just stating the information about it. And ETHI is the most popular ethical ETF in ASX with the fund size almost reaching $2 billion. Followed with FAIR, Australia Sustainability Leaders, with fund size about $1.1 billion based on June 2022. After the top 2 from BetterShares, we have the top 2 from Vanguard, VETH, and also VESG. With the fund size, both of them combined about $1.4 billion. They're also providers of ethical ETF from FunAg with the ticker code ESGI, Factors MSCI International Sustainability Equity, and their fund size is smaller, about $100 million, and the management fee is about 0.3 to 0.5% per year. And I specifically not mentioning the performance because, again, this is an informational video. We're not allowed to give financial advice, and usually people mistakenly seeing past performance as a good predictor of the future, which is absolutely not accurate and quite a risky way to invest. But we can talk about some of the challenges and difficulties in investing in ethical ETF. Well, number one is that whatever ethical ETF that you're interested in, make sure that the index that they follow and the ethical standard and rules are similar to your ethical standard. That means you need to do more research and more homework before you are getting into this any type of investment, just like any investment. But in particular, you need to really pay attention with the ethical standard that they follow. Say, what is ethical to them? Is it to what level are they investing in oil companies? And if there are companies such or some mining companies or even finance companies, do those finance companies invest in ethically or sustainable investment? And that brings more homework for you, because sometimes if you go through each company and follow the story and read the annual report, it may not match to the ethical standard that you have. One example that has surprised me, especially with the most famous ethical ETF, is with ETHI. Remember back in 2021, just not long ago, not less than 12 months ago, ETHI used to include Tesla, because you think, oh, Tesla is great. Tesla has changed the world and transformed all the automotive industry to moving into more sustainable electric cars, right? But then if you look at ETHI now, their biggest holdings is not Tesla anymore. Is in fact Visa. And then you start wondering, oh, why did this ETF index cancel out Tesla? What did Tesla did wrong, and what sort of rules that made them remove Tesla from one of their top holdings? Ethical investment and standard can be subjective as well, meaning your standard and the way how you view what's ethical and what's sustainable may not be the same with what are these fund managers providing to you through this ethical ETF. So my suggestion is make sure you really follow and understand what are the underlying holdings for each ETF. Make sure you understand the rules of how they construct this ethical portfolio on the first place. And I've compiled this index, which may give you a head start to do that, and included in that also the number of holdings, because you may think that, am I diversified enough at the same time with these ETF investments? But I can say the one that really sticks out are Vanguard with VESG with 1,600 holdings, 1,600 companies, and about 5,000 companies with Vanguard Global Aggregate Bonds. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention as well that there are ethical bond ETF that is provided by Vanguard, and you can check the rest of the index in this table. I hope you find this useful. Again, this is just informational video. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but make sure you do your due diligence yourself, and I hope you find this video useful. Thank you.